Okay, happy Easter, my metafam. How are we all doing today? I hope you all had a great day. I pretty much just watched some videos and played some games. I have the life of a 15-year-old, what can I say? I want to do a little highlight reel. Of course, I'm going to do it at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What is today? At 4/9, April 9, 2023. Alright, and I'm going to cut right into like one of the videos. I'm 20 minutes into their video. Another one of their videos is, well, that's one's only a minute in, but I'm only going to show a couple minutes of it. And that one's going to be Allie's on Trading Secrets. I want to make sure that you get these messages just in case you didn't watch these videos. And I am recommending you go back and you watch these videos. But just the highlights of these videos, the important things that we're learning that you probably should hear about. Now make sure you go ahead and hit the like button. And pass this message on, pass all MMTLP messages on. Here's a little bit what Allie has to say on this. Now, make sure you stay on the video long enough that you see the part with I'm going to do a part that has it's like way into it, but the John Berta interview with the LetItRide.com place, but way into their video, I'm going to play that. I'm like 20 minutes into Tony with Market Moves, which go watch his video. I'm going to show you a little bit about, he's doing some math that I think is very interesting that you might be interested in watching. So let's start off with Allie here.
Look at James's post. He said, official documentation of an investigation by the House Committee on Financial Services addressed. The key question he's asked is, who regulates the regulator? So I've added in here, great question there, James. However, a more important question, in my view, is who funds the regulators, and in particular, who funds FINRA? And why has this dangerous conflict of interest been allowed to disrupt free and fair markets for retail? So, again, hopefully James can ask this question and we can get some answers, especially some positive insights from the Senate and the Congress and everybody else as well. Let's start by providing a shout out.
All right, this is actually the part I wanted you to hear, although that was kind of interesting.
So this is just an article that they just published April the 6th, 2023. Great headline here. Congress is investigating FINRA's U3 halt and naked short selling. So this is something that we have been pushing. So in the previous video, you will know that Congress now are on this, and again also confirmed in this article. The next thing I'd like to share with you is something that happened in around about 2017, and he stated.
And this right here, this right here that I'm about to show you is the last piece I wanted to show you on Terry's video, or excuse me, Allie's video over at Trading Secrets. Go see his video. And
something again interesting from the point of view of the OTC markets. So he's come out with an interesting insight here, saying, so let me get this straight, FINRA and the SEC had MMTLP on the fraud radars for over a year, and the first time it was given a caveat emptor label was at 5:01 p.m. 8th of December. So that's very interesting, so check that post out. So in terms of a caveat emptor, just for anybody who's not aware of this, for clarification, this is a principle that the buyer alone is responsible for checking the quality and suitability of goods before a purchase is made. So with regard to MMTLP, it looks like they were giving warnings right at the very, very end, when obviously people had made their...
which, of course, FINRA knew about this a year before that, according to that. Why didn't we get any warnings then? Why? Because they're not protecting the retail investor. They're not protecting us. They're protecting their little Richie Rich hedge fund buddies is who they protect. Don't you forget that. The reason why is because even when we get our big payoff here, I know a lot of us are going to stay in this fight. All right? I'm not going to worry too much about the other angles of this fight until I get my money, just like probably a lot of you. But I do know a lot of us are interested in pushing this a little bit further, because FINRA and the SEC is supposed to be for us to protect the retail investors. They're not there to protect the little rich friends. And the problem being is half the people that are in the SEC, the DTC, the DCTT, the DTCC, yeah, and the SEC and FINRA. All right, these are people that all have worked for some of the largest hedge funds. There's definitely a conflict of interest there, and this is bullshit. But let's go ahead and move on to the next video, which was, boom. This one is Tony, market moves.
So let's take,
Now this math, I want you to see this math, but make sure you stay on this video and hit the like button if you haven't already, so we can pass this message on to more and more people. But when we're done with Tony here, I want you to watch a little bit of the interview of John Burden. That's going to be like 20 minutes into the Let It Ride. No, I keep saying Let It Ride, but it's letittrade.com, because we want to get our 2 days of trading back, right? Letittrade.com has the website, obviously, but they also have a YouTube channel. And if you see any of the mess behind me, pay no mind to that. Just close your eyes anytime that might pop up. My maid hasn't been here. She took a week off. Then I gave her a week off because I was going to do most of the cleaning myself, which I did some of it. And now I need to get her back in here this week to straighten things out. Every now and then, you know, having a female touch around does help the house look a little less bachelor-like, you know, so to speak. All right, but pay attention to this math that Tony's talking about. Very interesting, very intriguing stuff. You should watch this.
that $1.8 trillion that they had 20 years ago that they were able to use, right? And let's say that would cause problems in the market, such that that the DTC would have to get involved, and and so they'd have $1.8 trillion available, right? Now we also know that a lot of people who are saying, MMTLP shareholders, you got to be reasonable. You might break the entire U.S. Stock market.
Just saying, we don't have to be reasonable. We can want what we deserve and what's owed to us. And if it bankrupts the damn country, well, they shouldn't have put us in this position to begin with. The 65,000 of us investors will figure out how to run the country. We'll all chip in a little bit when you give us what we deserve. But what we deserve is what we deserve. How this affects the financial world doesn't affect us. We made our investment. We put our chips down in on the bet. Now we want to get paid off for the bet that we made that we won. Simple as that. Give us our money, then we'll decide whether or not we'll save the country financially. Because if this really is that bad, then, it sounds like a personal problem. That's all I'm saying.
By asking for too much dollars per share, just be happy with about $20 per share. Okay, so let's see. What happens if
Screw that.
$20 per share is what it takes to save the U.S. stock market, okay? With MMTLP. Let's say a settlement of $20 is reasonable because we'd have to actually, do that to save the entire U.S. stock market.
No, that's not reasonable.
Okay? Our one little tiny wildcatting firm out in West Texas, if the price went too high.
And there are people out there acting as if, well, if you MMT people are right, you're going to wind up breaking the whole financial community. Guess what? None of us are buying into that bullshit. It's just another excuse. So far it's been, well, actually, for the beginning of it, there was no excuse after no excuse because nobody commented on nothing. They thought if they kept their mouth long enough and shut up long enough that we would just go away. Well, guess what, FINRA? Guess what, SEC? Guess what, the U.S. government? Because congressmen and women and senators are now involved in this. And there's judges that should be making decisions and rulings that haven't done so because they're scared. They're scared. You got put into that job. You got voted in sometimes to that job, or you got assigned that job by someone that's for our government. Our government is supposed to be for us, for the people. This insider little clique that they got where they're trying to protect their rich friends, and their rich friends are trying to protect their rich friends, and their friends in FINRA, the SEC, and all these supposedly private organizations that are supposed to be there to protect us investors. I mean, what did they just, was that thing just a whole front just so you can make us feel all warm and cozy inside? Well, guess what? The secret's out. We can't trust you, SEC. We can't trust you, FINRA, and you have to make this right. We're not going to go away. Now, let's continue on with Tony's math here, because this is, again, very interesting stuff.
It could imperil the U.S. stock market. That's what some people are saying. But let's see what that really means. So if $20 per share is what it would take to save the U.S. stock market, let's see. So the amount of money that could endanger the U.S. stock market, that would be, reasonable damage or limits for shorts. Let's say that's $1.8 trillion. If we take the total amount of money that's available to bail out the stock market, and we divide that by the dollars per share, we can find an implied number of shares that were actually shorted, right? It's very simple math. Okay, we take the total dollar value of the money that's available to bail out the U.S. stock market. Let's just say it's the DTCC's $1.8 trillion. We divide that by $20, and we get the number of shares, the implied number of shares that were shorted. What do you think we get? Wow, we get 90 billion shares that were shorted. 90 billion shares. Do you think that 90 billion shares of MMTLP were shorted? Well, I don't know. But I somehow don't think that 90 billion shares were shorted. But let's say 90 billion shares were shorted. What does that mean?
All right, guys. You're going to need to have watched at least into this point. I think we're probably 10, 11 minutes into it to find out why. I've already decided while I'm watching this with you, because I only partially watched this earlier, but I know where Tony's going with this and I want you to hear it. Wait a minute. Hold on here. Got a light here, and I bet you $10. Yeah. Sorry about that. I was in Zoom again. I keep forgetting. Great. Now I completely lost my train of thought. Now, we're 10, 11 minutes into this whole thing. And, I've decided that my thumbnail is going to say 90 billion shares. I think something like that. I'm trying to think of things that are going to get people to click on. I guess they call that clickbait. Call it what you will. This is good information, so however you got here to listen to me, it doesn't matter as long as you get some of the information that you need, right? All right, back to the show here with Tony. You want to move? Feel free to go watch this whole video. Very interesting stuff.
We know that there were only 165 million shares issued. That means that shorts shorted 544 times the number of shares that were actually issued. Right? Wow. 544 times the number of shares that were actually issued. So, let's put this into a nice grid so we can see what's going on. And don't forget, we can see the implied number of shares that were shorted by just taking the total dollar value that it would take to bail out, the U.S. that would bail out the U.S. stock market to prevent harm, and divide that by the dollars per share, right? It's very, very simple, right? So, maybe $100. What about $100? If $100 is, what you have to accept as being reasonable in order to prevent the U.S. stock market from imploding because, we're asking too much money, what does that mean? Well, again, let's just say that there's $1.8 trillion. There could be more. There could be more.
Do you believe that we should take less money because they shouldn't have done what they've been doing with the naked shares? Do you think that we should take less money to save the U.S. government financial? I don't. Let the 65,000 of us take over. We'll split some of the bill on some of the stuff. We'll figure it out. We'll take charge. You got it.
But let's just say that there's $1.8 trillion that's available to bail out the U.S. stock market, and we would use it all up because we were asking too much money.
How
that
dare
means
us?
The implied number of shares is 18 billion shares. That means that 109 times the number of shares that were issued, 165 million shares, 109 times the number of shares that were actually issued was shorted. Do I think that's the case? I don't know. That's probably what the people who are saying that,
Let's see, turn the light back on. I don't know why I'm doing this, just to say something for a couple seconds. Did I zoom? Let's see, did I zoom? Yes. Alright, what was Tony just talking about? This is absolutely fascinating stuff. Here, hold on, I gotta refresh myself.
It's the case? I don't know.
Do you see the way he says, I don't know? I love that. I don't know. He knows. You know. I know. But I don't know. No, he don't know. 19 billion shares. Oh my God. I thought that I was talking like a crazy man when I mentioned 1 billion shares. Lately, I've been thinking maybe it's closer to 2 billion shares. Can you imagine if it was 19 billion shares? Oh my God. Do you know how rich we would be? They would never be able to pay us off. It would take all the U.S. government money if there's 19 billion shares. and then they let it ride to everything, to all the shorts closed, and until we all cashed in. I don't think there's enough money. I don't know. I didn't even try running the simple math on that, like with a calculator, but I'm just assuming that would be that would have to be into the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, probably way more, double, triple, whatever our debt is, you know? All right, let's let Tony keep talking, and yes, I'm going to be doing more shows like this. It's like, hey, you're hanging out with John for about a half an hour. Yeah, you know, he's going to do a lot of stupid, goofy things. He probably, legally, because I'm in Florida, smoked some of his medical marijuana before he started talking to us. And it's going to be more of a show where we're hanging out. We're going to spend a little time together. But in this show, you're going to see a lot of facts, a lot of interesting points, and things that you've probably missed throughout the week. Because you're busy working, and I'm not. All right, here's Tony.
It's probably what the people who are saying that, you know, you got to accept $20 per share. You got to accept $100 per share.
They're saying
that that this stock was shorted 109 to 1. 109 shares were shorted for every single share that was issued. That's what they're saying.
If that's the case, they deserve to go down.
I don't necessarily believe that. Okay, let's say that it's reasonable to accept $500 per share. If it's reasonable to accept $500 per share, and there's $1.8 trillion that's available to bail out the U.S., you know, stock market.
You know, I keep saying that too, but you know what? It's not reasonable to accept $500 a share. Not if we didn't set up the market the way they set up the market. All right, and there's been billionaires and whatever that have been taking advantage of this market for 100 years now. If we just found out a combination where if this were to be traded, let it trade, all right, and it sucked up every dime of every rich person out there, well then, you know, how dare them be in plays that are doing illegal counterfeit shares and shorting, and they know exactly what they're doing. And, you know, how dare them rip off us middle class for the last 100 years, and now when it's time to pay up because you screwed up, you're not going to pay up, or you're going to offer us a settlement? Bullshit. Let it trade. Let's see what it's really going to happen, and we'll work it out from there.
That implies that there's 3.6 billion shares. Oh, man, 3.6 billion shares. Is it possible? I don't know. I think that's a high number. But that's implying that 22 shares were shorted for every share that was issued. Again, 22 shares.
It's possible. We already know there's at least 2 or 3, if not up to 5 shares on my math. Now, I could be off on that. I really do think that there's almost 5 illegal shares to every 1 real share out there. All right. Let's go with his 9 times this year, which I think is a possibility.
Were shorted for every single share that was issued based upon 5 shares were shorted for every share that was issued. I think that's a high number. But that's implying that 22 shares were shorted for every share that was issued. Again, 22 shares were shorted for every single share that was issued based upon $500 per share. What about that?
Oh, sorry, went back too far. We want to. I think the 9 shares is probably more likely. I think it's possible.
$1,000 per share. That means 11 shares were shorted for every share that was issued. What about $4,000 per share?
Oh, he didn't say 9, he said 11. All right, $1,000 a share is something that I might consider possibly if we can get this done in the next couple days. A lot of us are thinking that we deserve a lot more than $1,000 a share, especially at the nefarious things that are out there going on that we think are going on. That's the only thing that's going to expose all this.
$4,000 per share. If there's $1.8 trillion available, that means that there's about 450 million shares that were shorted. That's kind of getting to the ballpark number, I think, right? That means that there's about 3 shares that were shorted, naked shorted, for every single share that was issued. Let's say the price even went up to $6,000. What happens if it got to $6,000 per share and there was $1.8 trillion available? That implies that there was 300 million short shares, or about 2 shares were shorted for every share that exists. 2 shares that were shorted for every share that exists, okay? So,
all right, guys. I know I got to keep turning the light on and off. Let's go ahead from here and go on to the last video, the interview with John Bird. Well, at least it's 20 minutes into it. But the part of the interview that I find very interesting that I want you all to see, know, learn, pass on, okay? And if you could, go down to the comments if you see any comments in there. If you don't, make a comment. If you see any comments down there, hit like on them too, because they actually help the algorithm push this video out even further. And it really does put a smile on my face every time I hit over 1,000 views. And yeah, I had a couple of them videos almost hit 3,000 views. I mean, I ain't got nothing else going on right now, you know? The old lady left, as you all know. The kids are all grown up. You know, if anyone should have a little fun playing around with these videos and getting some likes just to put a smile on their face, it should be me. So, go ahead and like those too. And this is still great content. And it is all about the cause. But why can't I have a little fun with playing around with this while we're trying to help out the cause? So, support me and hit the like button and keep passing this message on. I'm not going to offer $50 for every 1,000 subscribers, because 5,200 subscribers is fine. Like our not legal advice guy does or did, and I think that's cool. You know, whatever it takes to build the channel so that the message can get out to more people. You know, and if he's willing to donate $50, that's fine. But based upon the way my monetization and the amount of views I get works, that would put me in the hole for quite a while. All right, guys. Oh, and there is you can hit your 3 digits if you want to hit the donate button. Apparently, you can just give me money for the hell of it. I'd accept it. You know? I mean, if you have it. You know. All right, come on. All right, we're going to move on to the last video here. I'm done playing around with that. Last video. Oh, that's what I wanted you to see. Hold on, I got to turn the light off again. I apologize. I turned off the light last time, but I did not unzoom, so you probably saw my big fat faces. Big as can be. All right, here's John Berta. Pay attention to this.
Passed scrutiny at that point. In addition to that, the SEC had every opportunity for 4 months to not approve the S1 if they had an issue. And again, they approved that S1. So that leads me to believe that the issues that FINRA was dealing with on the last several days was really the imbalance in the stock. And quite frankly, if it was a small imbalance, they never would have halted the stock on Friday the 9th. If it was 5 or 6 million or 10 million shares, the market could work that out rather quickly.
Yep.
To me, it seems like this is a much bigger problem, and hopefully,
much
with the
bigger.
help of Congress, we'll get to those answers sooner rather than later, and then work towards a result that works for everybody. So, and I do think that Congress has asked us and me specifically, what kind of rules would you change? And
We were just talking about this a couple videos ago. I was just telling you about how Congress and the Senate are both now sending back some reply letters to people to let them know that they're listening, that they're hearing us. That feels all nice and fuzzy and warm inside, but we want more than that. We want them to force somebody to open up trading. It's that simple. Trading needs to open up so that this issue can resolve itself. It's the only way it's going to resolve, and whatever that money may be, let it be. We've given you what? I don't know. Are we on 120 days now? We've given you 120 days to think about this and to work it out and to figure it out. Yes, change is coming. This is probably going to make a big difference. And yes, you do have to. We do have to reform. Okay, but that doesn't mean that we have to get robbed. You need to open up, trade again, and let the cards fall where the cards fall. All right, on to. I want you to see a little bit more of this John Berta video, and this is on again. Where is it? LetItTrade.com/MMTLP John Berta interview. So go to Let It Trade if you want to watch the whole interview. As you may be able to see right here. Oh yeah, we're 14 minutes into it. I still want to play a few more minutes of this, and then we're going to wrap this up, guys. And I appreciate you coming to my channel and supporting me, and I definitely appreciate everybody supporting the cause.
I said, look, there's a lot of things I would change about the way the markets work, but I don't want to change anything until we get all the data that FINRA has. And that way, you're going to get bipartisan support when you have the facts in writing as to what really happened. To throw something against the wall in a partisan effort, I think is a terrible thing to do. This is an American issue.
We're going to throw some shit against the wall and see if it sticks.
It's not a Republican or Democratic issue. This is an American issue. So
It's a money
we
issue.
need to fix this, and
A
the
green
way to
issue.
do that is to get the facts, develop the laws around it, and get buy-in. from both
Benjamin
sides.
issue.
John, you've been so in touch with the MMTLP community over the past few months, and the stories that have been shared, massive financial loss, corruption, loss of faith and transparency in the market. What do you believe is the solution to make things right for all parties involved?
This is the part I wanted you to see, and I'm going to wrap it up. In the meantime, if you haven't hit like. Hit that share button, and go ahead and share this with all your social media networks. Share it with Facebook. Share it with whatever. I don't mind if I look a little bit like a clown in this. It's a little entertaining, but we need to get this information out in any way, shape, or form, and everybody digests information differently. All right, here's John Berger's answer on this. And this whole interview, you really, when you have some time, need to go watch. This is awesome.
First things first, I think getting the blue sheets and getting the facts, the questions that we asked, of FINRA through Congress answered, that will give us insight as to what happened, who was responsible, who the bad actors were, how bad the problem is, I think is extremely important. From that, you really have two ways to resolve this situation. You can basically allow for 2 days of trading under supervision so that there's no funny business going on. There's no additional shorting. There's no buying from retail. It's only position close only. And it would be short covering only in that situation. But that cannot be under the ticker symbol MMTLP. The only way that can happen is with FINRA's involvement and Nextbridge's involvement as well to allow it to happen. And again, for 2 days only, give people back the 2 days that they missed and see where the chips fall. We'll see what happens in that situation. The only other scenario would be for, again, after finding out all of the information via blue sheets and share counts and information and questions we asked FINRA, how bad the situation is and who is involved, is that those actors can come to Nextbridge and try to solve their problem by buying shares from Nextbridge hydrocarbons and then settling out their issues that way. So,
All right, guys. You heard it from the man himself. All right. We want our 2 days of trading back. That's what it's all about. And that's what needs to happen. That's what's right. And we need every senator and congressman out there to be standing tall with us, standing strong, and be saying the same exact message. Don't waver. If you waver, we're going to see it. We're going to know that you're wavering because you're in someone's pocket. You're going to give away yourself at this particular point. All right, we already think everything is corrupt. Prove to us that it's not corrupt. All right, you heard it from John Berger himself. This right here needs to open up. Trade needs to open up. And I don't know if you caught his... He at one point, his price projection for this was at $540 or something like that. But I do believe with that price projection, when he was saying around $500, I do think that he was considering at that particular point us kind of accepting that amount of money, almost like a settlement. But I'll tell you what, where that would be wonderful and great, it's not wonderful and great if really the 2 days of trade. Which is, what he was just discussing, what we've all been saying. If that opens up, I think the value of this is going to be way, way, way worth more than that. And I did not think that before, but the more and more research I'm doing on this, the more and more it looks that way. So, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for passing it on. Thanks for being a wonderful MetaFam member and trooper. And I do know that even those of you that are just watching the video and hitting like, I know you're helping the cause just by doing that. It's something, but I appreciate, all of your likes, your comments. I love commenting back to you guys, so feel free to comment. And let's go ahead and push this message out a little bit further, and y'all have a great day.